Hare Krishna.
Om
Om
Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanatha Swami Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Grama Tarine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. We welcome all of our YouTube live listeners, our listeners over Facebook Live, and our listeners over Zoom. Welcome to all of you to this day 6 of Sri Rajamandal Parikrama.
Okay, so can we have the slideshow, please? Yesterday, we performed Mathura Parikrama. We went to Dwarkadhish temple, we went to Yamuna temple, Vishram Ghat, Pipaleshwar Mahadev, Rangeshwar Mahadev, Bhuteshwar Mahadev. We also went to Gokarneshwar Mahadev, Dhruva Ghat. From Dhruva Ghat, today we are going to Tila. So today we'll go from Mathura to Madhuvan, where in Mathura was Dhruva Ghat, where Dhruva Maharaj met Narad Muni. Narad Muni gave blessings to Dhruva Maharaj. And from Dhruva Ghat in Mathura, Dhruva Maharaj went to Dhruva Tila in Madhuvan. We also saw Kubja Mandir yesterday, the Keshavji Gauriya Math, Krishna Janmasthan. And today we will go to Dhruva Tila, Krishna Kunda, Dauji Temple, and Maholi Gaon in Madhuvan and understand the origins of Madhuvan. So next slide, please. We will be walking about 12 kilometers. And here, as we can see, in the entire Rajamandal, we did a Vrindavan Parikrama, Panchakrosh Parikrama, then we came to Mathura. We stayed at Mathura. From Mathura, now we are walking towards Madhuvan. And today is also Karwa Chauth for certain cultures. So therefore, today is also one of the wonderful ways to express our chastity to the Lord and get some instructions from Dhruva Maharaj. Next slide, please. This is our path from Mathura to Madhuvan. Next slide. This is the path that we will take. We'll also come to Lavanasura cave. We'll see how Shatrughna founded this city of Mathura, and Madhuvan was the capital at that time. Narad Muni, when he instructed little Dhruva Maharaj, when we discussed yesterday at Mathura, Narad Muni advised Dhruva Maharaj to go to Madhuvan, one of the 12 forests in Vrindavan, and perform his austerities to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead there. Now, Narad Muni, he instructed this little child, you bathe in the Yamuna and meditate on the Lord. Next slide, please. Then Narad Muni gave a vivid and beautiful description of the Lord so that Dhruva Maharaj can be further encouraged to meditate on the beauty of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and each and every one of his limbs. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, verses 45 to 51, Narad Muni describes the beauty of the Lord to Dhruva Maharaj. How the Lord is so beautiful. Next slide, please. This is the meditation on the lotus face of Krishna. The lotus face of Krishna is perpetually very beautiful, very pleasing in his attitude. To all the devotees who see him, he appears that he is never displeased. He's always prepared to award these benedictions to them. His eyes, his nicely decorated eyebrows, his raised nose, you can see his broad forehead. They are all very, very beautiful. He's more beautiful than all the demigods combined.
This picture of Krishna, his lotus face. Krishna is looking like a blue lotus flower, so beautiful, so amazing, so heart capturing that if we can meditate on this way to Madhuvan when we are walking, that this is the description that Narad Muni gives to little Dhruva. So if we can capture this moment, this little picture of Krishna in our heart, then Krishna will continue to stay in the region of our heart for eternity. That with that desire, let us look at all these beautiful pictures that we have for all of you in the as according to the description that is given by Srila Narad Muni.
So then Narad Muni continues. Next slide, please. The Lord's form is always youthful. Every limb of his body, every part of his body, it's properly formed. Next slide, please. It's free from all defects. His eyes and his lips are pinkish like the rising sun. We can see the lotus eyes of the Lord. Why are they called as lotus? So pinkish, pink with compassion, so compassionately gazing upon the conditioned living beings. He's always prepared to give shelter to his surrendered soul. You can see those windows are the eyes. Eyes are the windows. And anyone who is so fortunate to look upon him feels all satisfaction. This is Narad Muni telling Dhruva Maharaj. Imagine how encouraged Dhruva Maharaj must be feeling. Next slide, please. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord, is always worthy to be the master of the surrendered soul because he is an ocean of mercy. The Supreme Lord is further described that he has the mark of Shrivatsa. Next slide, please. Or the sitting place of the goddess of fortune. His bodily hue, as we can see, is deep bluish. And then Narad Muni says, the Lord is a person. He is a person. He's not some impersonal form, impersonal thing which is manifesting a form. No, he is the original. He wears a garland of flowers. Next slide. And he is eternally manifest with four hands. Next slide again. The bluish form of Krishna. The form that Narad Muni described was of Vishnu here. He wears a garland of flowers, as we can see. He is eternally manifest with four hands, which hold, beginning from the lower left hand, a conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. Then he describes that the entire body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, is decorated. He wears a valuable jeweled helmet. You can see his helmet, his crown, full of jewels, necklaces. We see the necklace of Lord Vishnu, and then his bracelets that he's decorated with. Next slide, please. His neck is adorned with the Kaustuba jewel, and he's dressed in yellow silk garments that we see here. Around his waist, the Lord is decorated with small golden bells, and his lotus feet are decorated with golden ankle bells. Next slide, please. You can see all these pictures that are there. They are not someone's imagination. This is how Narad Muni is describing the actual Supreme Personality of Godhead, how he looks, how he appears. From Srimad Bhagavatam, these paintings are made. His bodily features are very attractive, very pleasing to the eyes, always very peaceful, very calm and quiet, and he's very pleasing to the eyes and to the mind. Next slide, please. Narad Muni says, real yogis, they meditate upon the transcendental form of the Lord as he stands on the whirl of the lotus of their hearts. Next slide, please. So he is standing on the lotus. This signifies the lotus of hearts of the devotees. The jewel-like nails of his lotus feet are glittering. You can see every part of his body is glittering, but the lotus nails are especially glittering because we should meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. And then the Lord is always smiling. You won't see him angry except when he is angry with someone offending his devotee. And therefore, the devotee should constantly see the Lord in this smiling form as he looks very mercifully to the devotee. This is very important. Narad Muni is instructing. How should we meditate on the Lord? We should meditate on the Lord that he's looking mercifully towards us. Whoever we are, whatever we have done, Krishna always is merciful, loving towards us. And however fallen we may be, we must remember the Lord as he is as he looks mercifully to the devotee. Like that, we are remembering the form of the Lord. In this way, the meditator, he must look towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the bestower of all benedictions. We should not be afraid of the Lord, that he will give me some challenging situations. He will punish me. That's not how we should meditate on the Lord, is what Narad Muni is saying. We should meditate that he's always smiling, always merciful, always bestowing benedictions upon us. That is how we should meditate. That is what will please the Lord when we meditate upon him as the bestower of all benedictions. Jai. Then Narad Muni says, what will happen if you meditate like this? One who meditates in this way, concentrating his mind upon the always auspicious form of the Lord, he's very soon freed from all material contaminations, and he does not come down from meditation upon the Lord. Does not come down. Next slide. When Dhruva Maharaj, the son of the king, he came to know about this, he circumambulated Narad Muni. He heard very, very carefully. He circumambulated Narad Muni, his spiritual master, offered him respectful obeisances, and then he started for Madhuvan. From Mathura, he started to Madhuvan, which is always imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna, and therefore it's very auspicious. So here it says Madhuvan is imprinted. We will understand after this pastime of Maharaj Dhruva that he performed in Madhuvan. We will see why Madhuvan is, why did Narad Muni ask Dhruva Maharaj to go to Madhuvan specifically? And he gives a hint here because Madhuvan is always imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna. How did they get imprinted here? Wait and watch.
So here we saw how beautifully Narad Muni, in those days, of course, there was no possibility of showing a picture, but Narad Muni's descriptions of Krishna, of Lord Vishnu, was so vivid that Dhruva Maharaj could capture the Lord in his heart. Because Dhruva Maharaj needed to know on whom to meditate. How does the one who he is going to be meditating on, how does he look like? So that was important, very, very important information that Narad Muni imparted upon Dhruva Maharaj so that Dhruva Maharaj could fix his mind upon the beautiful lotus aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead during his time in Madhuvan. So now we start walking from Mathura to Madhuvan, trying to meditate on those beautiful, beautiful pictures that we saw and trying to keep that, that vision of Krishna in our hearts. Let us keep that as those forms of Krishna as the vision while we are walking from Mathura to Madhuvan. Next, while we are walking, we come to this place known as Dhruva Tila. So we keep walking. It's a not such a big distance. And the day that we walk from Mathura to Madhuvan, that day is also the day of Karva Chauth. So, when we come to Madhuvan in the evening there, we actually all the Matajis get together and celebrate Karva Chauth in the Madhuvan tent. It's really, really wonderful. So one thing once we must notice here, which Srila Radharaman Maharaj, he pointed out to us while we were walking this forest of Madhuvan. Next slide, please. Srila Radharaman Maharaj pointed out to us, he said, take a careful look at the trees. The trees in Madhuvan on either sides are very, very tall trees. But although the trees are very tall, their branches are coming towards, as if they are offering obeisances to this holy land where Dhruva Maharaj performed his tapasya. It is something very, very wonderful to witness this miracle of nature, that even the trees, Srila Radharaman Maharaj explained that these are actually yogis and rishis who are in this tapobhumi, in this place of austerity of Dhruva Maharaj, and they are all offering obeisances to Dhruva Maharaj in this wonderful place of his tapobhumi. They are all offering their respectful obeisances to Dhruva Maharaj. Next slide, please. So Dhruva Maharaj, it is said that as Narad Muni instructed him, look at that little boy, a 5-year-old boy. He's all alone in this forest. Nobody is with him apart from Krishna as the Paramatma in his heart. So little 5-year-old boy, he's not afraid. He's just, sitting on the banks of the Jamuna. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Dhruva Maharaj, once he arrived at Madhuvan, he took his bath in the river Yamuna and he observed fasting in the night with great care and attention. After that, as he was advised by Narad Muni, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said that for the first month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only fruits and berries. On every third day, that he ate fruits and berries, but not every day. And every third day, he ate fruits and berries just to keep his body and soul together. And in this way, he progressed in his worship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the second month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only every 6 days. First month, every 3 days. Second month, he ate only for every 6 days. And his eatables and what he ate, as you can see here, he took dry grass. He ate dry grass and leaves, and thus he continued his worship. So much austerity. 5-year-old boy. In the third month, he drank only water every 9 days. He did not even drink water every day. He drank water every 9th day on the third month. Thus he remained completely in trance and he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by selected verses. In the fourth month, Dhruva Maharaj became a complete master of the breathing exercise. Next slide, please. And thus he inhaled air once only every 12th day. He even stopped his breathing. He stopped his breathing every 12th day he would just breathe one time. And thus he continued his worship. In the 5th month, by the 5th month, Dhruva Maharaj had controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand on one leg, just as a column stands, completely erect, without moving at all. No moving, no motion. And he concentrated his mind completely on that divine form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as was described by his spiritual master Srila Narada.
And then he controlled his senses so much and his mind that it was like Ekeha Kurunandana, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, one single pointed attention, no distractions from his mind, no distractions from his senses. And then Dhruva Maharaj, in this way, when he captured the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his mind with one single focused attention, all the three worlds began to tremble. They started shivering with the determination of his austerity. And then Dhruva Maharaj, he kept himself standing steadily on one leg. The pressure of his big toe, because he was standing, the big toe, the pressure pushed down half the earth. Half of the earth was just being pushed down, just like the example in Bhagavatam is given. Elephant, when it's being carried on a boat, the elephant rocks the boat left and right with every step. Imagine an elephant on a boat and he's walking. The boat would go left, right, and that's how the earth was behaving because of the pressure of the toe of Dhruva Maharaj. Not because of his weight, not because he was jumping on it, he was standing steadily because of the single pointed determination and attention. He was able to do this. This is the power of mind. This is the power of devotion to capture. When we capture the Supreme Personality of Godhead in our heart in this way, by single pointed attention, no distractions from the senses, no distraction from the mind, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides in the heart. And he is the lightest of the lightest, and he's heavier than the heaviest. That weight was actually putting so much pressure on Mother Earth. Then it says, when Dhruva Maharaj became practically one in heaviness with Lord Vishnu, the total consciousness, due to his fully concentrating and closing all the holes of his body, the universal breathing became choked. Not just Dhruva Maharaj, but the breathing of the universe became choked. Next slide, please. All of the great demigods in all the planetary systems, they felt suffocated. As we can see, all of the devatas, they're feeling suffocated. These are the managers of the universal management. The demigods, the devatas, and because of the austerity of Dhruva Maharaj, they were feeling suffocated. And they all came and took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Trahi Mam, save us, please. And all the demigods, they said, my dear Lord, you are the refuge of all the moving and non-moving living entities. We feel that all these living entities who are under your refuge, they are suffocating. Their breathing process is being choked up. We have never experienced such a thing. But you are the ultimate shelter of all the surrendered souls. Therefore, we have approached you. Please, please save us from this danger. Please save us from this danger. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said, my dear demigods, don't be perturbed by this. I know why this is happening. This is due to the severe austerity and full determination of this son of King Uttanapad, who is now fully absorbed in thought of me. That is why this has happened. He has obstructed, because of his austerity and determination, it has obstructed the universal breathing process. So now you return back. I'll take care of this. I'll stop this boy in his severe acts of austerities, and then you will be saved from this situation. Then the form of the Lord, which was such brilliant as lightning in Dhruva Maharaj, all of a sudden disappeared, because Dhruva Maharaj was meditating in his mind, just like Narad Muni had said. That form he was meditating and chanting, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And in his concentration and mind, he had captured the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Suddenly, the Lord disappeared from his mind. And Dhruva Maharaj was perturbed. His meditation broke. And he opened his eyes. Next slide, please. But as soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally present, just as he had seen the Lord in his heart. Next slide, please. When Dhruva Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, he was greatly agitated, because he was surprised. He had not expected this. He was willing to meditate like this on the form of the Lord within his mind for eternity. That was his determination. And within 6 months, the Lord appeared. He was just greatly agitated because of being surprised. And then he offered him obeisances and respect. Next slide, please. He fell flat before him, Dandavat Pranam, like a rod, and became absorbed in love of Godhead. Next slide, please. We can see here how he has now paid obeisances, Dandavat Pranam. And then Dhruva Maharaj, in ecstasy, he looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, and embracing the Lord with his arms. This is the description in Srimad Bhagavatam. He looked, which means in his mind, he was actually looked upon the Lord as if he were. That means in his mind, he was drinking the Lord with his eyes. His eyes were engaged. He was kissing with his mouth the lotus feet of the Lord. And then he was embracing the Lord with his arms in his mind.
So although here, as we see in this picture, Garuda is standing there with folded hands next to Lord Vishnu, and little Dhruva is standing there also. And Dhruva Maharaj, he was not even able to speak anything. He was just drinking the beauty of Krishna's, Lord Vishnu's beauty through his eyes. He was so much enamored by the beauty of Lord Vishnu, he just couldn't speak. Then it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Vishnu, seeing this condition of Dhruva Maharaj, as you can see in this picture, Lord Vishnu touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruva Maharaj. And as soon as the conch shell touched the forehead of Dhruva Maharaj immediately started speaking. He started glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead with beautiful, beautiful prayers. And he became completely aware of all Vedic injunctions and the conclusions of all the Vedas. And thus he was able to compose amazing prayers to the lotus feet and glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Vishnu. So Dhruva Maharaj said, "My dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all of my sleeping senses, my hands, my legs, my ears, my touch, everything, especially my life force, even my power of speech. You have enlivened everything. So I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, my Lord." Krishna, Lord, Lord Vishnu, being so pleased with the sincere prayers of Dhruva Maharaj, Lord Vishnu said to Dhruva that, "My dear Dhruva, You have executed extremely difficult and pious vows. You've done such great austerities. And I know with what desire you did this. Although your desire is very ambitious and it is very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with its fulfillment. All good fortune may it come to you. So the Supreme Personality of God had said to Dhruva, he said that I will award you. You wanted a position which is higher than the kingdom of your own father. So I will award you the glowing planet known as the pole star. And from today, this planet will be called as Dhruva planet, the planet of Dhruva, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of the millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by the solar system. And all the luminaries in the sky, they are just as, if this Dhruva Tara, this Dhruva Nakshatra, is the center of the entire universe. So keeping the pole star to the right, all the stars inhabited by the great, the Sapta Rishis, all the great sages, they will circumambulate this Dhruva planet. So after your father goes to the forest, King Uttanapad, when he goes to the forest and he will give you his kingdom, you will rule continuously the entire world for 36,000 years. 36,000 years. Now we must understand that this pastime is taking place in Satya Yuga. So in Satya Yuga, people lived for
100,000 years.
So 100,000 years. So out of those 100,000 years, 36,000 years is nothing. So Dhruva Maharaj, Krishna said that you will be ruling for 36,000 years. And you will be very, very focused. You will be a great king and you will never become old. This was the benediction that Lord Vishnu gave to little Dhruva. And then he said, my dear Dhruva, after you complete your material life, your life as the king, you will uh, you will come to my planet. It is situated above the planet of the 7 rishis, of the Sapta rishis. And having gone there, you will never come back again to this material. So this was the benediction that Dhruva Maharaj ultimately got. So Dhruva Maharaj, saying this, Lord Vishnu disappeared from the vision of Dhruva Maharaj, fulfilling his desire, the purpose for which he had performed the austerities. But Dhruva Maharaj was not feeling satisfied. While, now his purpose was served of staying in the forest. So then Dhruva Maharaj started to walk back towards his home, to Kanpur. And while walking back, he was thinking within his mind.
Well, to endeavor to be situated in the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord, it's not an ordinary task. I know that even great brahmacharis, the 4 Kumaras, Sanandana, they practiced Ashta Yoga in trance. They attained the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet after many, 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 many births. But I'm so fortunate. Within 6 months, I've achieved the same result. But I know I have fallen down from my position because my thinking was different from the Lord. Look at me, I'm so unfortunate. This is what little Dhruva was thinking. I approached the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, someone who can cut the chain of the repetition of birth and death. And out of foolishness, what did I desire for? Why did I worship him? Just for some things which are perishable, things which are of no use. In fact, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela in chapter 22, text 42, that Dhruva Maharaj, his internal thinking was this: Sthana Bhilashi Tapasi Sthitoham Tvam Praptavan Deva Munindra Guhyam Kacham Vichanvan Apidevya Ratnam Swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. This actually happened when Dhruva Maharaj, he was a very small boy, 5-year-old. And he had the darshan of the Supreme Personality of God, and he was thinking like this in his mind, but he was not able to articulate it properly. So, and he wanted to pray and express all of these things to Vishnu. Lord Vishnu understood. So as you can see here, Lord Vishnu touched little Dhruva with his conch shell. He has Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. With Shankha, he he touched him on his head. As soon as he touched him on his head, it was like a recorder which started. It was like Vishnu played the pray button, the play button. In fact, the pray button, that's correct. The play button of the prayers, and prayers started coming out of Dhruva Maharaj's 5-year-old mind and heart, just out like pouring, like shower. And then he said this verse that we just sang, which Lord Chaitanya mentioned. Oh my Lord, I was seeking a materially opulent position. Next slide, please. I was performing severe types of austerities and penance just so I can get some material position. Sthanabhilashita. Now I have gotten you. You are very, very difficult for great demigods, saintly person, and kings to attain. Actually, I was searching after a piece of glass, broken piece of glass. Kacham vichanvan, broken piece of glass in the form of material position. But instead, I found Divya Ratnam, a most valuable jewel. So I'm very, very satisfied. I do not wish any other benediction. Please, Kritarthosmi, I'm very grateful to you just for your darshan. Imagine, we go for the darshan of the Lord in the temple, and what do we? We start picking our wish list out. And what Dhruva Maharaj is doing? He's saying, I don't want any wish list. I had your darshan. That is good enough for me. That is like Divya Ratna. Broken pieces of glass, I don't want. Next slide, please. So let us take darshan of the deities after some time. But here we can see Garuda. We can see Lord Vishnu and Dhruva Maharaj paying obeisances. Next slide, please. Here, how Lord Vishnu is so wonderfully, lovingly, with protection, caressing and loving Dhruva Maharaj.
So now let's move to the next slide. Let's take darshan of the actual Dhruva Tila. This is the Dhruva Tila. It's on a Tila means a little hillock. So we will climb up the stairs to take darshan of the beautiful deities where actually Lord Vishnu appeared and gave his darshan to little Dhruva.
Next. And little Dhruva was just of the same age as this little boy who's sitting here. It's almost like Dhruva in pant and shirt looking at us.
That's little Dhruva. Next slide, please. So here we see Lord Vishnu, and then we see Narad Muni on one side and Dhruva Maharaj on the other side. So this is the deities here. This is the exact place where Lord Vishnu appeared and gave his darshan to Dhruva Maharaj. Jai. Shri Dhruva Maharaj ki jai. Next slide, please. So this is the, from that hill area, we can see from the temple, the place that is surrounding, we can see this beautiful Tapo Bhumi. This is the place where Dhruva Maharaj, he did tapasya. This is where he stood on one leg and he meditated. So this is that place. Let's offer our obeisances to this place, this beautiful Tapo Bhumi, Divya Bhumi of Sri Dhruva Maharaj. Next slide, please. And from here, now we continue our walk. From Dhruvatila, we come to our next destination, which is Krishna Kunda.
This is such a beautiful walk from Dhruva Tila to Krishna Kunda, trees all over, almost bowing down to in honor of Dhruva Maharaj, performing his tapasya here.
And
Next,
it's really wonderful. This forest walk from Dhruvatila to Krishna Kund is really, really wonderful walk. Next slide, please. So this is how we walk from Dhruvatila to Krishna Kund. When we come near Krishna Kund, we are actually coming to this little village. It is considered to be the first, our experience of first Brajbasi village. A Braj village is Maholi. The first, in our experience, in this Parikrama, in this Yatra, the first Brajbasi village that we will come across is this Maholi village. So we start walking into this village of Maholi Gaon, walking towards Krishna Kund first. Next slide, please. So here we can see the Brajbasi boys as we were coming into from the Dhruvatila, we were coming towards Krishna Kund, we passing by this little village, Maholi Gaon. And those little Brajbasi boys, they love to get candies, chocolates. So Prabhu was very, very, he actually bought a lot of, chocolates and he was distributing. And as you can see that even Mother Cow was coming to get some chocolates. So the Brajbasi boys, they are dancing in ecstasy when they get just a small chocolate when they are very, very happy. That's how sweet, innocent, it is so easy to please the Brajbasis. Just give them a little chocolate and they are really so happy. They give blessings. So, distributing the mercy in this way, we take the blessings of these little Brajbasis and proceed our way towards Krishna Kunda. Next slide, please.
so Lord Krishna, as Gopal, he would bring his cows for grazing to the forest of Madhuvan. That's why Narad Muni said, go to Madhuvan, because it's imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna. Once these cows, they became very thirsty. And so they started mowing in so many different ways. So Krishna understood they are thirsty. So therefore, next slide, please. Krishna manifested a kunda here by striking his flute on the ground. He took his flute, he struck on the ground, and a kunda appeared. A water body just appeared, a pond appeared, and sweet water just came gushing out, forming this beautiful pond. And then his cows would drink this beautiful water, cool nectarian waters of Krishna Kunda, the pond of Krishna. In Madhuvan, it's also known as Madhu Kunda. Madhu also means honey because the water is so full of honey. At that time of Lord Krishna, Madhuvan was filled with these kalpavriksha desire, wish-fulfilling trees. They were covered with beehives. Which would produce like the sweetest madhu. Next slide. In all the creation, this is the Krishna Kunda. So let's pay obeisances to Krishna Kunda, sprinkle 3 drops on our heads, honoring this wonderful kunda made by Krishna's lotus flute. And then it had so much madhu in all the creation for the pleasure of Krishna. Next slide, please. Therefore, this forest came to be known as Madhuvan because of all the madhu that was there. And then Krishna would perform this sweet pastime of Raslila with the gopis on the bank of Madhu Kunda, which he made, or which is also called Krishna Kunda, in the autumn season. Next slide, please. Here, Krishna performed sweet pastimes with the gopis, and that's how it's called Madhuvan. Next slide.
This so is very, very sweet pastimes because the trees, they are said to have so much, bees around. The sweetness is too much over here. That's why this place, this forest is called as Madhuvan, because there's so much of honey, so much of nectar, so much of sweetness. That is why this forest is called as Madhuvan. Now, on the banks of the Krishna Kunda, there's a very beautiful temple of Sri Dauji. This is our next destination. So it is said that once Lord Balaram, he visited Sri Vrindavan Dham. Next slide, please. From Dwarka. And he met with Krishna's gopis to deliver a special message that Krishna had sent for the gopis. So we know that, of course, after Krishna Balaram left left for Mathura, then first Krishna sent Uddhava with a message for the gopis. And then Lord Balaram came and visited. And even with Lord Balaram, Krishna sent, a message for the gopis. And about Uddhava coming and meeting with the gopis, that we will talk about when we go towards Nanda Gaon later on during our Parikrama days. So now here, when Balaram visited with the gopis, it is said that Lord Balaram met with Krishna's gopis here at Madhuvan. So here at Madhuvan, Krishna's message that he had given to Lord Balaram for the gopis, Lord Balaram was reading that message and he was pacifying the gopis, and they were all remembering. Next slide, please. They were all remembering the beautiful pastimes of Krishna, and Lord Balaram, was narrating the wonderful, beautiful pastimes of Krishna to all the gopis of Krishna. Next slide, please. And the gopis became so lost in thoughts of Krishna on the banks of Krishna Kunda, as we can see here. And Lord Balaram himself, it is said that his loving remembrance of Krishna was so strong that Lord Balaram, he gave up his white complexion and he assumed the form of Krishna's blackish complexion. So now let's take darshan of that beautiful blackish Lord Balaram, who is here at the bank of the Krishna Kund in the Dauji temple. Next slide,
Generally,
please.
Balaram is white. You see any deity, you see any photograph, and when you have darshan of Lord Balaram, you will see he'll be white speck. But now he transformed blackish in remembrance of Lord Krishna himself. Balaramji, if you see him, in the next slide you will see, but not yet, you see that Varuni is on our left and Revati Devi is on our right. Black Balaram is in the middle, and he is actually holding the Varuni on his left hand, and his right hand, which we cannot see here, is actually raised to give blessing. And he's standing in such a wonderful, fashionable way, in one sense, bestowing his blessings. Next slide, please. This is
here also we can see the two associates, the close consorts of, Lord Balaram, Revati and Varuni. Revati and Varuni are the associates of Lord Balaram. And Lord Balaram here, he has Anantashesh at the back. And then next slide, please. Let us take a close look at the deity. As Prabhu was explaining, we can see in the left hand, Lord Balaram is holding a glass. That glass contains a drink which Lord Balaram loves to drink, which is basically honey. It's called Varuni. So Lord Balaram is holding a glass of Varuni in his left hand, and with his right hand he is lifting in as a blessing. So this is the beautiful, beautiful form of Lord Balaram in black complexion here at Krishna Kund in Madhuvan. Next slide, please. So now we come to, so this is the Dauji temple on the banks of the Krishna Kund, as we can see. Next slide, please. So now this is the Maholi Gaon, or the village of Maholi. This is the place, it is said, that where Shatrughna, he, the brother of Lord Ramachandra, he killed Lavanasura. So Mathura Puri, it is said that it used to be called as Madhupuri. And because it was ruled by a demon called as Madhu. And in Treta Yuga, Lord Ramachandra, when Lord Ramachandra was there, Lavanasur was very, very, vicious, very demoniac. And the sages were so disturbed that they approached Lord Ramachandra that, please help us. So then Lord Ramachandra, he sent his brother Shatrughna. Next slide, please. he sent his brother Shatrughna to take care of this Lavanasura.
So Lavanasura was the son of Madhu demon, who was, because of whom it is known as Madhu Puri or Mathura. Mathura came to be known because of Madhura, which is Madhu. And these sages of Madhuvan, they were completely terrorized by his son, Lavanasura. They approached Lord Ram in Treta Yuga. So Lord Ram said, Shatrughna, you go. You go and subdue this demon. So then Lord Ram already coronated Shatrughna as the king of Madhupuri immediately, because Lord Ram was the emperor. He said, you are now the king. Don't consider uh, Lavanasura as the king. You are already the king, only time is separating. Go and defeat him. So then Shatrughna, he came and he prompted Lavanasura for a fight, and a fierce battle ensued. Then uh, there were so many arrows that he was putting, but then Lavanasura was not dying. Then one of his confidential associates told him, Lavanasura has a staff which is given by Lord Shiva himself. And when he sleeps, he keeps his staff always with him. It never goes out. But that is the source of his power. That is why he never he counteracts all your arrows. But in the night when he sleeps, he puts this he puts this staff in the Shiva temple, because this was given by Lord Shiva himself. And when he gives, at that time, if you can take the staff away, then next day he will lose. So Shatrughna said, okay, this is good. He arranged to take the staff out when Lavanasura slept. He left the staff in the temple. Next slide, please. This is the entrance to Lord Shiva's temple. And if you can see somewhere in between, we can see the beginning of Shiva Linga. Next slide, please. This is the temple where Lavanasura would keep his staff. This is in the Dhruva Tila itself. Shri Mahadev ki jai. And that was the source of his power. Shatrughna came, he stole it, and then in the night, he attacked Lavanasura. Lavanasura, oh, I don't mind. You attack me. I still have full faith. He went into the temple to get his staff. He could not find his staff. He was like, where is it? Where is it? And in the meantime, Shatrughna came and defeated him. Then Shatrughna, he reigned as the king of this particular place. Next slide, please. And here, as you can see, Shatrughna killed the mighty Lavanasura. So this happened at this place in Madhupuri, which turned to Madhura and is known as Mathura because of Madhu demon and Lavanasura. Shatrughna had come here and reigned here as well. Next slide, please.
So this is, devotees taking prasadam at Sri Madhuvan. And, so breakfast prasadam is here going on. You can see my father is there next to Prabhu and Prabhu. They're all taking prasad along with the devotees here in a little forest where we all took prasadam. Next slide, please. And this is our night stay at Madhuvan. We will be staying here only for one night because tomorrow we will start walking from Madhuvan. We will cross 2 forests on the way and we will go to Shantanukund tomorrow. So it's quite a long walk tomorrow, but we will be crossing 2 major forests of Vrindavan. The next 2 forests, one is Talavan and the other is Kumudvan. So today we are at Madhuvan. Tomorrow we will go to Talavan and Kumudvan, and we will come to our final destination tomorrow, which is at Shantanukund.
So remember these names of these forests in sequence. Then it'll be wonderful. Lokanath Maharaj, he would always do this. After his class, he would ask this question to all the devotees in the Vrajmandal Parikrama: what are the names of the 12 forests? And uh, everyone would start saying different forest names, and we said, no, I want to know the names of these forests in sequence of the Vrajamandal Parikrama, in sequence of how Lord Chaitanya visited these different forests. So today was the first forest, Madhuvan, and then tomorrow we'll reach Talavan and Kumudvan. And so we will be asking these in the quiz questions. Quiz yourself where we are and in sequence. And then when devotees were not able to say in sequence, he told Radharaman Maharaj. Now Radharaman Maharaj will tell us, but he will tell us in backward sequence. And Radharaman Maharaj was able to say that. So this is how absorbed we must be in the Vrajamandal, in Vrajmandal Parikrama. And then if we are such absorbed, any challenge that comes in our life, we can easily overcome by the mercy and blessings of this absorption. Next slide, please. So today we went to Madhuvan forest. Next slide, please.
So we walked from Mathura, we came to Madhuvan today, the first forest of the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Next slide, please. And tonight we will be staying at Madhuvan, and we will be offering lamps in the evening. So let us get together and offer lamps to Sri Sri Radha Damodar, Sri Sri Radha Madhubihari ji. Let us offer our lamps and our love to their lordships in the evening today.
And to Sri Dauji.
Sri Dauji Bhagwan too, Sri Balaram, the Black Lord Balaram. Next slide, please. So thus today we visited Dhruva Tila, Krishna Kunda, Dauji Mandir, and Maholi Gaon. So we can end the slideshow here.
So today's quiz questions, we will now read the quiz questions today. And we request all of you to please answer these quiz questions on the YouTube and Facebook pages. And we would be announcing the names of the participants of the quiz. Of course, the answers to the quiz questions are given in the Zoom, in the WhatsApp group. So if you'd like to join that, that'll be wonderful as well. So the first question: what were the austerities performed by Dhruva Maharaj, and where did he perform them? Second, why were the demigods experiencing suffocation?
Third, for how long did Dhruva Maharaj meditate, and how did he get the ability to offer prayers? Fourth, how did the Krishna Kunda manifest, and why is it also called as, and what it is also called as?
Fifth one, how did Madhuvan get its name? Sixth, what is the special significance of Lord Balaram's temple in Madhuvan?
Seventh and the last one, who was Lavanasura and how was he killed? So we thank Divyangi and Prem Vikas Prabhu for these quiz questions. And please, we request all of you to visit the YouTube section, and please like the video and give your answers in the YouTube comments section. The YouTube link is also posted along with the quiz when the quiz is posted in the WhatsApp group. So please do like the video and subscribe to this channel. Share it with your friends so that we can get much more subscribers. We can spread the word around. And we thank devotees like Sri Lekha. We thank devotees like Hari Prasad Prabhu and Sindhu Mataji. They have been answering the quiz questions very regularly. We are very grateful to all of you, and we request and encourage all of you to also participate and add on your answers in the quiz in the YouTube comment section.
So we do read all the comments and answers that you put on YouTube and Facebook, and we would next day we will announce the names of the participants.
From tomorrow we'll start doing it as part of the session also. So please do share your answers.
All right, so we can open now for any questions or comments if you have. Yes, Shri Chaitanya Kumar Prabhu.
I think it's Jamuna Ras.
Yeah, you can unmute. Yes.
Can you unmute yourself?
Mataji, see, Govardhan. Ji, Govardhan.
Hari Bol.
Jai Giriraj.
Giriraj, go. Can that video be spotlighted?
Govardhan, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we were Krishna, so we just stopped.
Yes. Hari Bol, Giriraj Govardhan.
So in front of us, you can see Giriraj Govardhan.
Jai, Jai,
Hari Bol.
Jai. Hari Bol.
We just off. So you can take darshan from here.
Jai.
Thank you. So beautiful. So grateful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Giriraj Govardhan ki jai.
Namaste Girirajaya.
Namaste Girirajaya.
Govardhana iti namine.
Govardhana iti namine.
Ashesha klesha nashaya.
Ashesha klesha nashaya.
Paramananda daine.
Paramananda daine.
Jai Shri Giriraj ki jai.
Jai Giriraj Govardhan ki jai.
Thank you for the beautiful darshan. So because we are here, Jai Ho, Hari Bol, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. So we are here at Madhuvan and also at Giriraj Govardhan. So we thought that we can sing, there will be Kirtan. So we'll sing Damodar Ashtakam today. So can we
and all the best for your Giriraj Parikrama. May you complete it successfully with all the vows that you have taken.
Hari Bol. Thank you.
Hari Bol, Mataji.
So let us offer lamp to Shri Giriraj and at Shri Madhuvan Dham. And then we'll again open for more questions and comments. So can we have the Damodar Ashtakam, please, in the lyrics?
Namah Sachi Anandarupam Lasa Kundalam Me Vrajamanam Yashoda Biyoluka Radhamanam Param Krishna Vadyanta Sudutadodya
Rudanta Maholi Yugmamrijantam Karam Bhujayugmena Sadanganetam Muhushwasakam Dati Rekangakanta Sthita Graivam Damodam Ram Bhakti Padam
Swalilabhe Anandakunde Shamni Majantam Achamayantam Tadiyeshita Yeshu Bhaktajitatvam Purnamimatastam Shatabriti Vande
Param Devaya Moksham Na Mokshavadhim Nachanyam Prineham Vandeshad Priha Idam Deva Puranata Gopalvalam Sada Me Manasyahi
Nashtalopya Mohoshtrumbitam Bimbavraktadharam Me Manasya Virastam Bhagam Lakshanam
Namo Devadamoda Ananta Vishnu Rashmida Prabodukha Jalabhimagnam Kripa Drishti Vrishtati Dinamvatano Grihadishamamagyam Etakshidrishyam
Ratmajau Bhatha Murjaivayatma Tvaya Muchita Bhakti Bhajamritam Tatha Prema Bhakti Swakam Viprayacha Namo Shri Graho Vishnu Namo Dareha
Namaste Sudamne Radhipidhamne Vadiyodorayata Vishwasya Dhamne Namo Radhikaya Diyam Priyaya Namo Nandalilaya Devaya Tubhyam
Namo Radhikaya Swadhyaya Priyaya Namo Nandalilaya
Devaya Tubhyam
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama
Hare Rama
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 Hare
Hare Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Jaya Damodara Jaya Damodara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Giri Raja Jaya Giri Raja Jaya Giri Raja Jaya Giri Raja Jai Shri Shri Giriraj Govardhan Lal ki Jai Shri Shri Damodar Ashtakam ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Damodar Jiv ki Jai Jamuna and Prabhuji, and thank you so much for this beautiful darshan of Shri Giriraj.
Hari Hari Bol Mataji, thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so Gandharvika.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hi, Bhakti Priya.
Mataji, Jai Radha Krishna Geeti, that Kirtan, whether we have to start Jai Devar Pranadana Hai or Jai Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radha. Please explain that how.
Jaya Devir Pranadhana Hai. That's how that starts.
Oh, okay, Mataji. And which and all other kirtans we can sing in Damodar Masa?
Any kirtans glorifying, Srimati Radharani and Krishna, we can sing during this month. That is, you can sing Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, you can sing Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite, Radha Krishna Pranamora Yugala Kishore. All these songs you can sing, Radha Kripa Kataksha, all of these songs.
Oh, okay, Mataji, thank you. And you are looking so beautiful, Mataji. What's special?
Yes, today is Karva Chauth, so that is what is special.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anjali, Hare Krishna.
नजर नहीं लगे. जय श्री राधे.
Jai Shri Radha.
Jai Shri Radhe. Happy, very, very happy Karwa Chauth to you. We did yesterday. तो हमारा कल था. हाँ. So it's a very happy Karwa Chauth. क्या आपने मतलब it is, I don't even have words. मतलब कृष्णा की इतनी सुंदर मैंने तो कभी नहीं देखी. Like, every one after the other was so mesmerizing, so beautiful that tears started coming out of the eyes. And looking at his lotus face, lotus feet, all those beautiful collections. Thank you so much for your hard work, your sincere devotion, your everything, and the story of the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. It just moved. It was no words. Truly, I'm just going to make a full thing of all those like priceless pictures, and I won't say really Krishna, no pictures, wrong word, sorry. And then I'm just going to this. It's thank you so much, Prabhuji and Mataji, for everything, your divine association, your this. आपने तो जादू कर दिया. जादूगर हो आप दोनों. वो तो है ही है, मुरलीधर तो है ही इतना बड़ा जादूगर, पर आप भी कम नहीं हो. Thank you so much. और अभी टाइम नहीं लेंगे. You have to break your fast and everything. So everything. I'm actually very hungry. I understand. So it's okay. Thank you. Hari Bol. Jai Shri Radhe.
I'm also keeping fast for her to give her company.
Yeah, Prabhu also fasts every year.
क्या बात है जी. तभी तो एक दूसरे का वो है ना. Like one is राधा कृष्ण की जोड़ी. नजर नहीं लगे.
Yes,
so
sir. Thank you.
Happy Karwa Chauth to both of you. Very nice. So we won't take time. Please. Hare Krishna.
Garima.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvad Pranam, Algar Prabhupada. Nah, I just love this class. Like Krishna Kund. I just don't know how can the flute break the ground and come in nice pond. I know, it's so amazing.
Isn't it? Krishna is amazing. Imagine when we go to Radha Kund, when we go to Giriraj, you will see Shamakund. Shamakund, how it came by when Krishna, he stuck his left lotus feet on the ground, and that's how Shamakund appeared. Just by Krishna stepping on the ground with his left lotus feet, Shamakund appeared.
And Radhakund appeared with Radharani's bangles. She used her bangles to make that whole Radhakund.
So it's
so
amazing.
More amazing stuff coming up. Stay tuned.
So Krishna's flute is transcendental like himself.
I know how Shamkund and Radhakund came.
So
Like
then why is it
Krishna's
difficult to understand how flute Krishna Kund came? Not difficult.
But flute is so like soft.
Krishna's lotus feet is not
The bangle is not soft.
Yeah, you have to have faith in Krishna.
Exactly. That is the point. You have to have faith in
Krishna can do the faith that we need to have is Krishna can do anything. Krishna is kind and nothing is impossible for him.
Yeah.
And so many places in Srimad Bhagavatam, devotees have prayed, there is nothing impossible for you, my Lord. You are the shelter. So when we pray like this, Krishna gives us miracles.
But it's so nice to see you, Bacha. I can't ever stay without seeing you, so you have to come every day, okay? Otherwise, I start missing you. Okay.
Okay, I have one question.
Yes, beta.
I have one question that for devotees, is it okay to eat chocolate?
We'll answer this privately to you. Let's put it that way, okay?
Okay.
We don't want to say it on a public forum.
Yeah, it's a very, very controversial question that you asked. This is the most controversial question that you have asked so far.
Because it has many answers. Many devotees have many, many answers. So therefore, we'll tell you privately, okay?
Yeah, because some Maharajas eat and some Maharajas don't. Like,
We'll talk about it later, okay? Okay?
okay.
Thank you, beta. Okay. Any other questions you have?
No.
Okay. Hi, Bol. Thank you. Rushan Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Uh,
Dandavats.
I had a question that why didn't Narad Muni tell Dhruva Maharaj to do devotional service unto Krishna and he told it to do for Narayan?
Yeah, very nice. To Narayan, not to Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu.
Well, Narayan and Krishna, they're the same persons, but the kind of desires that Dhruva Maharaj was wanting to worship for was he wanted a kingdom greater than his father and that no one else had. So that he felt that Narayan, who is Krishna himself, but in the form of the maintainer of the universe, and there's Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, so they can directly provide. If he wanted pure devotional service, he would have said, go to Krishna. But here also it is Krishna, but in his form to satisfy that particular desire. But just by satisfying that desire, just by approaching Vishnu for that, he not only satisfied that desire, he wanted to give up that desire as well. He completely got purified.
So, and also it is said that because this happened in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, both these yugas, Krishna and the existence of the Goloka Vrindavan Dham was unknown to people. You know, when Krishna himself came, he also did not talk much about Goloka. He actually did not talk much or anything rather about Goloka. And only very few people knew that Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when Lord Chaitanya came in Kali Yuga, he is coming from Goloka. And he is the one who said that Goloka Vrindavan is the topmost planet in the spiritual world. And that fact was actually revealed by Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So no one else could have revealed this. And therefore, Kali Yuga is said to be the most fortunate because what people even in Satya Yuga did not get. You know, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra that we are chanting so freely, that Hare Krishna Mahamantra was there even in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. But it used to be a secret mantra. Not everyone was allowed to chant it. But look at the mercy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that Mahaprabhu has made it so easily available to us, accessible to us. That is the mercy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu.
At the
Okay,
same
thank.
time, Narad Muni asked him to chant a mantra. What was that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Who is Vasudeva? That's Krishna. Why he asked him to go to Madhuvan? Because Krishna's lotus imprint are there. So he indirectly engaged him in the service of the Supreme Personality Krishna. But because he had these desires that he wanted to fulfill, he asked him to meditate on Vishnu. But uh, he was in Madhuvan meditating in Vraja Dham, Krishna's Dham, which is eternal, uh, on Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Also, there is a verse which says, Kriteya dhyayato Vishnu, Tretayam yajato makhai, Dwapare paricharyayam, Kalauta dhari kirtanat. Which means in Krita Yuga, Satya Yuga, which is when this pastime took place, the way of attaining the Supreme was Kriteya dhyayato Vishnu, was meditation on the form of the Lord. Although chanting of the holy names, as Kalasuda said, is valid for every age, but in every age there is a Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma in Satya Yuga was Dhyayato Vishnu, to meditate on on Lord Vishnu. So that's what he told. But then he also asked him to chant the name of Krishna in Vrajadham, Vrindavan.
So that proves to show that, in Satya Yuga, we can ask the question, oh, Krishna had not yet come, so where did Dhruva Maharaj go? How did he find Madhuvan then? But Vrajadham is an eternal dham. Vrindavan is eternal dham.
It's a cycle. So in the previous time of Treta Yuga, in the previous millennium, previous Kalpa, Krishna had come in the same place
and performed his pastime. So these are all very wonderful leelas that we need to understand in this way. So we hope this answers your question, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you very much, Mataji and Prabhuji. And I had another question that as we know, Goloka Vrindavan is greater than Vaikuntha. So I wanted to ask that the abode of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is what is the place of that?
It's called a Shweta Dvipa. Shweta Dvipa, it's mentioned in Chaitanya Mangala by Srila Loshan Das Thakur, that Shweta, in one corner of Goloka Vrindavan, in Goloka Vrindavan planet, in one corner of the Goloka Vrindavan planet, is the planet and abode of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is called as Shweta Dvipa. And there, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he resides with his associates. And, the benefit of being with Lord Chaitanya, if we go to any Vaikuntha planets, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. And there's one Goloka Vrindavan. But when we go to Goloka Vrindavan or to any other Vaikuntha planets, we stay in those places itself. We are not allowed to travel, within the spiritual worlds. But if we are with Gauranga Mahaprabhu in Shweta Dvipa, Lord Chaitanya, he takes out his Sankirtan party. Every day he visits one spiritual abode. So that is the benefit in this Kali Yuga that we have, that if you want to go back to Gauranga Mahaprabhu to Shweta Dvipa, then Mahaprabhu will take his Sankirtan party. One day we go to Mathura. One day we go to Dwarka, see the elephants in Dwarka. We go one day to, to Lord Nrsingadev's abode and see Lord Nrsingadev. One day we go to Ayodhya. One day we come to Krishna in Gokul. One day we, come to different spiritual worlds every single day with Lord Chaitanya in his Sankirtan party.
Hari Bol, thank you very much, Mataji and Prabhuji, for answering the questions.
Also, you mentioned that Goloka Vrindavan is greater than Vaikuntha. All the devotees in other Vaikuntha planets, they are completely satisfied. They don't think, oh, this is greater. If you give them an offer, come to Krishna Loka, they will be completely satisfied in Vaikuntha. They don't want to go anywhere else. So a better way of saying is it's most intimate planet, because you can have most intimate association of Krishna and those rasas in that planet, but not necessarily greater or lower or something like that. In the spiritual world, everything is absolute.
Okay,
But thank you for this question. Very thoughtful questions that you have. It makes us go deep within our hearts to actually understand the essence and give you the answer. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you to you, Prabhuji and Mataji, for answering all those questions.
Hare Krishna. Shravanti. Before Shravanti comes online, we have a question from Hari Prasad Prabhu. Prabhu, thank you for your question. You're asking what Karva Chauth is. Karva Chauth. Chauth means fourth day. And Karva is, this is a festival which is observed by married women and for the protection and the well-being of their husbands. So, they pray to, their lordships to always protect the husband. And Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual masters, they also say a very wonderful thing, that for a chaste lady has two husbands. One is Krishna, who is the ultimate protector, the supreme protector. And Krishna, who is he's the husband of all the husbands also. We are all Prakriti in that sense. All the living entities are Prakriti. Krishna is the only Purusha. So he is the protector. And therefore, and Krishna has put us in this woman body. He has put us in the protection of his representative, who comes as our Prabhu, as our master, as our husband. So we pray for both of them, so that we can remain chaste and we can remain subservient to both our husbands. So this is the festival that we are celebrating. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. We thank you, and we are so grateful to you for your prayers and your blessings upon us. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So, Shravanti.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
My son Subrud has a question, Mataji.
Yes. Can you speak a little louder, beta?
Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Tila Prabhupada. Why specifically Narada Muni needed to come to tell Prahalad, Dhruva Maharaj where to go? Why?
Oh, let me ask you first. What is your name, beta?
Suharat.
Huh?
Suharat.
Suharat. And how young are you?
7.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you for your beautiful question, beta.
So Narad Muni, he was actually coming to visit King Uttanapad, and he saw King Uttanapad was very much dejected and disappointed. And so Narad Muni asked, what happened? So the king said, my son, 5-year-old son, Dhruva, he has left. And he was very much hurt by his stepmother Suruchi's words. And I tried to stop him. I couldn't even stop him. He left like that. I don't know where he is. He's just so little, 5-year-old. He's going into the forest. His mother said that he'll get the Lord in the forest. He's gone into the forest. There are so many wild animals, so many unscrupulous people on the way. What would he be eating? And he was just lamenting like that for his son in front of Narad Muni. And then Narad Muni, he said, don't worry. Your son is very much protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But don't worry, I will go and I will bring him back. And so Narad Muni, that's why, went to bring Dhruva Maharaj back. But in terms of,
sorry, I'm having problems.
He encouraged him, but he wanted to first test him. So he went there and he told, you're just a little child, 5-year-old. Your mother said something. Why are you so upset about that? After all, she's your mother and it's your days of playing. Go play with your friends. What are you doing going to the forest, searching for the Supreme Lord? Big yogis have gone. They've searched. They haven't found for many, many births. And so Dhruva Maharaj heard everything. He was very respectful. But in essence, he said, Narad Muni, do you want to help me? If not, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And Narad Muni was very much impressed by this little boy's determination. Ultimately, he wanted him to go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has told so many different sons of kings to encourage them, the Prachetas and so many others, to go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here he was testing him. Is he really serious about it, or is he just, he's just upset, and so that's why he's just going? And if a elderly person comes and tells him something, he'll come back. And so in that way, that is why Narad Muni came into the picture. Was that your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. So wasn't it like a lie, because he said to Uttan Pad Maharaj that he will get back Dhruva Maharaj?
Sorry, we didn't understand.
Wasn't it like a lie, because he said to Uttan Pad Maharaj that he will get
Oh, no. It was not a lie. You see, Narad Muni, he didn't really say, he didn't really say that, I will bring your son back.
That was my mistake. He didn't say I will get him back.
He said, I will guide him.
Yeah.
I will guide him. I will take care of him. So you don't worry. And Narad Muni, the reason why Narad Muni came to Dhruva Maharaj is because, Narad Muni is like he's the traveling spaceman. He always travels around. And when anyone is in distress, anyone is in trouble, Narad Muni immediately comes to help them. So Narad Muni is like that person who is like the guru for everyone. That's a special position. So that is the reason why he came to Dhruva Maharaj, to guide him when he needed it the most, and to tell him that how he can go from here and how he can achieve Krishna and the blessings of Lord Vishnu. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Mataji.
Very
Thank
good
you,
question.
Beta. Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jamuna, you have your hand raised. Hare Krishna, Jamuna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Hare
Krishna, can you hear
Bol.
us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hare Bol. Thank you so much. Koti Koti Pranam. Thank you so much, Koti Koti Pranam, all devotees, for being with us and in the Govardhan Parikrama and taking the live darshan. I just had one question, Prabhuji. Like, we go to so many places, what should be our innermost prayer and desire while going? And I know it should be common or universal, but just when we go to different temples or different places, what should be our prayer? What should be the mood? If you can elaborate.
Well, our mood should be, first of all, we should briefly think about our position of how we are not qualified, how we are fallen, offensive, sinful, so many different things that we may have are disqualifications, and briefly touch upon it, and then focus on, even though we don't deserve it, look, we have been given this wonderful opportunity, which is unique in all the creation, to do Brajamandal Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama, have darshan of the deities. This is unparalleled. The Devatas, they're standing in line. But because of the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, even though we don't deserve it, because of his love that he has shared all his devotion with us, we are able to perform this parikrama. So, Giriraj, we are helplessly dependent upon you, because we really don't have any qualification. We're just hanging on a thread, and you are holding that thread. So we are completely helplessly dependent upon you. Please grant us the service attitude that pleases you. Grant us the taste to attentively absorb ourselves in hearing and chanting your name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Please grant us the spiritual strength to complete this parikrama, to be able to perform our sadhana nicely, and to serve the devotees and preach. If we can have these three specific prayers, ultimately, Srila Prabhupada gave the essence. Prayer is, please engage me in your service. But that should be in a mood saying, thinking how unqualified we are, and therefore appreciating the mercy, appreciating it at every moment. That sometimes we take it for granted. The biggest thing that we can do is not take it for granted, this Brajmandal Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama, having darshan of the Lord, and appreciate it, appreciate our good fortune, that we have not deserved it, but we still, if we just appreciate that, in that mood of appreciation, automatically gratitude will come, and then whatever we pray with devotion will be pleasing to Krishna. So you know what to pray. I would not say exactly what, but as devotees, we all know how to pray, what to pray. But if we can pray in gratitude, gratitude will automatically come. If we understand our unqualification, and even we are unqualified, Krishna is giving such a great thing.
Simple prayer,
Okay.
like this.
Thank
তাদের চরণ সেবী ভক্ত শনে বাস, জনমে জনমে হয় এই অভিলাষ. That our only desire is that we want to serve the devotees. তাদেরও চরণ সেবী ভক্ত শনে বাস. That let us always be in the association of loving devotees. Janame janame hoy ei abhilash. That this is our only desire every birth, that may we just continue to serve. Just give us an opportunity to serve. Let us be the humble instruments in the hands of our spiritual masters, and let us just engage in the preaching mission of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu as the humble instruments of our spiritual masters. That should be our only prayer.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for always guiding, and Mataji for reminding us of our eternal position and service. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol Mataji and Prabhuji.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to have darshan of Sri Giriraj.
Thank you.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Thank you.
Bol.
Dandavad pranam.
Vishal Prabhu?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji. As Prabhuji, you said that Goloka Vrindavan is intimate. So I wanted to ask that which is most intimate, Shvetadvipa or Goloka Vrindavan?
Goloka in Shvetadvip is in Goloka Vrindavan. So in one sense, yeah, in Shvetadvip we have Radha Krishna in the form of Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, and in Goloka Vrindavan we have Radha Krishna in the
As themselves.
as the eternal couple. So in terms of mood, in terms of, we are saying intimate in terms of 5 rasas, the dasya ras, shantaras, sakhyaras, vatsalyaras, and madhuryaras. So of all these 5 rasas, madhurya ras is the most intimate, which is found in Goloka Vrindavan. And even in madhurya ras there is swakiya and parakiya madhurya ras. Parakiya madhurya ras is most intimate, which is found in Goloka Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya is always in that Parakiya Madhurya Ras, Radharani thinking of Krishna. So in his association, we will always be experiencing that most intimate rasa. So it's the same. Both are in Parakiya Madhurya Ras, Goloka Vrindavan and Shvetadvip within Goloka Vrindavan.
Okay,
But there is an
Prabhuji.
added advantage that we can go to other planets as well for Harinam Sankirtan.
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhuji and Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Very nice questions. Hari Bol. Is there any more questions?
If not, we can end here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
kripa sindhubhya cha
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you all so much. We look forward to your association tomorrow, where we will visit the ongoing forests of Talvan and Kumudvan, and we'll be going to Shantanupun tomorrow from Madhuvan. Please join us. Hare Krishna.